Hi, past, present, and future homeowners and sellers. It's your homegirl, Justina. Welcome back to another episode of the Property Buyer's Guide. So today, we're talking about an often overlooked but very essential topic of compliance and completion certificates. Today, I am joined by Mr. Larry Mwikanda, who is the manager of the Building Control Department at City of Windhoek, and he will be talking us through this very interesting topic. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you, Justina, for having me. It's actually an honor being here and to share these important topics between compliance and complete certificates. Because at the end, most of our public or the resident, they do confuse the two and they never really understand the process behind them.
Okay, so we'll dive into the difference between these two. Okay, so please tell us, what is a compliance certificate and what is its role in the home buying process?
All right, thank you for the question. In a layman's language, a compliance certificate, it's in the word itself, compliance.
Okay.
So it means something should comply to a certain or conform to certain regulation and set of rules. So in this case, we are actually referring to structures or existing buildings. So a compliance certificate is a legal document that is always issued by a relevant local authority. In this case, it's going to be City of Windhoek, which means all the structures in the jurisdiction of City of Windhoek must obtain this compliance certificate. So basically what we do is, for example, if you know this game, spot the difference.
Okay, yes.
So you actually take the approved building plan versus what is built on the premises. So you check and see the differences.
Okay.
So whatever is existing or built on a certain property should match 100% with the approved building plans.
Or that are submitted to the City of Windhoek.
The previous plan that were submitted previously and approved. So the two should speak the same language. So sometimes also we do apply our town planning scheme. A town planning scheme is like the Bible for City of Windhoek, which gives you the certain different types of zoning. You have residential, business, agriculture, industrial, depending.
Yes.
So for instance, if we are now doing a compliance inspection or compliance certificate for a residential dwelling, you actually look at the usage also, because you cannot have a dwelling, but they are using it as a garage, fixing cars and all that. So the two does not match. So apart from the plan itself, we also look at the usage, if it really conform with the usage as per approved building plans.
Okay.
Yes.
And so then we've touched on compliance. So what is a completion certificate then?
Okay, completion is also in the word itself, completion certificate.
Right.
It means something has been completed and it must be certified as such that it is completed. So in this case, when you apply for a building permit to be issued, you are given building plans which are certified and approved, and then you commence with your building. As you commence with your building, you have to invite the City of Windhoek building inspectors to come and inspect all the various stages of inspection during construction. This starts from the foundation, which is excavation, the sewer, the DPC, DPM.
So maybe just to interject there, that means that an inspector will come to this particular site more than once. It's not a once-off.
It's not a once-off. And then once all the inspection has been carried out, up to the final inspection, we call it the final because it's the last one.
Yes.
And then if that building passed all those inspections, and then you can do an overall inspection, which you refer to as the final inspection. Then once that has been determined on site, and then you will issue a complete certificate to certify that the building was inspected and it complies to our regulation and it was built as the approved building permit. There are two scenarios which most the public always confuse. Sometimes if you have a site engineer who's now assigned or appointed to be the engineer on site, they can do all this inspection on behalf of the City of Windhoek, provided that at the end of the project they give what you call a practical completion certificate, which confirm and certify that they were the registered engineer and appointed engineers, and they've done all the inspection under their supervision or as per design. Yes, and it should be a PR engineer, which means professional registered engineer.
And
so based on their report, we can also still issue a completion certificate.
So it's not just an inspector from the City of Windhoek.
No, it can be an outside engineer as long as it's registered with the ECN. Yes, Indian Council of Namibia.
So maybe just for the sake of clarity, so we talked about a completion and then we talked about a compliance. So if I'm buying an existing property, that means I only require a compliance certificate.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes. Maybe just take you through also what are the benefits of a compliance certificate.
Yes.
But actually, it has also become a regulation. There is no structure that can be transferred from one owner to another. In this case, from the seller to the buyer. By law, it is required that they should present a compliance certificate from the relevant local authority.
Okay.
So the reasons for that, or the benefits of the buyer is that, once you obtain that compliance, it means whatever structure or a house that you are buying, it means that it complies with all the regulation. In this case, the City of Windhoek regulation, the town planning scheme for City of Windhoek, in terms of the usage, it means that it complies. And the second advantage is that, or benefit is that, you cannot buy a property that is in arrears in terms of the municipal accounts and rest and taxes.
Okay, yes.
So before the compliance is issued, we send a request to our finance department. They will look at your account and see if you are in good standing.
Okay.
If you are not in good standing, they will arrange with the attorneys who are doing the transfer.
Yes.
When the deal goes through, they will deduct whatever you owe. In this case, it's going to be the seller. And then they deduct that money from the entire deal, and then the amount is cleared or settled.
Okay.
So when you are buying that property, as the buyer now, you are free of that. You start from scratch.
Okay. So you get a clear and clean account.
Exactly.
And so then we can conclude that then the completion certificate is a certificate that you get through when you're purchasing a property that was actually constructed, like a brand new construction home, for example.
That is correct. In this case, most developers, they are the owners of the property from the beginning.
Yes.
So they will build and then complete the house. Then upon completion of that project, then they will be issued with a complete certificate.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes there's no developer or there are no contractors. It's straight, just like between me and you. You decide to build on your own.
Yes.
So at the end of the project, we'll issue the completion certificate.
Okay. And at that stage, you don't require a compliance.
You don't require compliance.
Okay.
Compliance only comes in when there's a transfer between two parties
of an existing property.
Yes. So basically, a compliance enables a seller and a buyer. So between these two, that's like an agreement that, okay, fine, we are in agreement, I can buy the property and the property can be transferred now from the attorneys.
Okay.
Yes.
And so, fine. So we learned about completion certificates, compliance certificates. What are the benefits of these two items? How does one go about applying for these two documents with the City of Windhoek?
All right, let me start with the completion.
Okay.
The completion certificate comes in at the end of the project. So the moment you apply for all this inspection during a construction phase, at the end of the project, which is the final, then automatically, if everything passes, you are issued with a completion certificate.
Okay.
And that is done deal. It's only issued once.
Okay.
Yes. Unless if you want to add on your property or the building, then you have to start the process from the start again. And then at the end, whatever you've added, it will get its own completion certificate.
Okay.
Yes. Compliance certificate is a bit different how it operates. And before that, the complete certificate, you obtain it for free. There are no costs.
Okay.
Yes. It's already covered in the application fees.
Okay.
So there's no fees for that. Provided that you just make appointments.
Yes.
And inspectors goes out and do the inspection and passes the inspections. Yes.
Okay.
Now, in terms of the compliance, it's a different story. Compliance with an application form which one needs to fill in. So on the application form, it's a requirement that both parties, the seller and the buyer, should present their IDs. Okay. Yes, on the form. Must be indicated. Yes. And then you need to attach also your municipal bill or the statement. Okay. Just to confirm that this property is actually yours. It's still in your name, you being the seller now. You being the seller. Okay. Yes. And then you fill in the application form and then it takes about 10 days to issue the compliance. Okay. But we are actually very fast these days. We are doing it within 5 days. Okay. But by law, it takes 10 days. So quite efficient, an efficient process you guys are running. That's if all is in order. Yes. We don't find that there are deviations from the approved plans or you didn't spot the difference, as you said. Exactly like I said. Okay. So if it's easy, it's quick. You can even do it between 2 to 3 days. Okay. Yes. And then on the application form, there are fees. And this fees varies from suburbs to suburbs. Okay. This depends on the, should I call it classes of living, if I can say that. You fly in Clan Windhoek, cannot have the same with Ochomwise or Komasdal and the Katutura. Yes. So we have different tariffs per suburb. And also it depends on the usage of the structure. Okay. For example, if it's a farm, I'm referring to Garo has outside there. So their fees are different from the dwellings.
Okay.
Then some are business. They also have a different tariff for that.
Yeah.
Yes. So everything is on the form. Perhaps that you can share to the clients later
Yes,
or the
we can
public
share it
so
on
they
the
can
screen.
see.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, but there is it's one form for all the different types of properties, and was it usage that you made reference to?
Yes, it's usage. You'll see, for example, there's Windhoek residential, businesses, Cobasdals, Mabasia, Dorado Park, and Rockcrest, they're in one category. Katutura and Ochomise, they're in one category, and then for the farms.
Okay.
Yes.
And at what branch can one apply for this compliance certificates? Is it at any branch, or there are specific branches within the City of Windhoek that you should visit for these applications?
Yes, that's a very good question, because I do find clients always confusing.
Yeah.
Because we have the headquarters, it's where I am in Townhouse.
Okay.
And this we serve suburbs around the city. This is from Klein Coupe, you name them.
Yes.
But from Komasdal, Katutura side or Chomise there, we have a satellite office in Katutura, situated just right opposite the Katutura police station.
Okay.
Yes, that's where another office is for building control. So those guys within that neighborhood, the surrounding, they can actually apply from there.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Larry. This was a very, very informative session. We've learned so much. I think it's very important to understand that if and when you're purchasing a property, you sort of want to understand what the usage is, and if you don't have any issues from a compliance state point with the City of Windhoek. And then obviously, like you mentioned, accounts are also settled, so that when you are purchasing a property, you ensure that once you're getting this property, you're not dealt with or you're not left with dealing with the rates and taxes and other costs of the previous owner of the property.
There's another element where we always involve also our electrical department in terms of illegal connection of electricity, because it was a challenge in the past. So when a property is up for transfer, we always give a notification also to our electrical department.
Yeah.
They go and also do inspection of the property to make sure that all your electrical connection are legal. And there are no bypassed meters, or maybe you are tapping power from your neighbor. And all of those things.
So a building and a compliance certificate is there to protect members of the public.
Exactly.
And you are ensured that if you're purchasing a property and these two documents, either or, depending on the property that you're purchasing, are in place, that you are in fact compliant with the City of Windhoek, and these properties have been inspected for your safety.
Exactly. There are situations which I just want to bring to your attention.
Okay.
Where sometimes a structure does not comply with what was approved previously. I'm referring to, these are minor issues now. For example, you have a door, and then that door has changed in terms of the size. It was a smaller door, now you have a double door or a sliding door.
Yeah.
So those are small things that we allow for the structure to be transferred, but then you must enter into a memorandum of an agreement, the two parties, which says, you, the buyer, you agree that you are buying the structure knowing that the door or the window sizes has changed.
Okay.
And then you are given 6 months after you purchase the structure.
Yes.
Make sure that you bring that into compliance. By bringing a new plan to indicate that the door sizes has changed, or maybe the roof design has changed, or the window sizes.
Yes.
But there are aspects that we take so serious that we cannot allow to be signed on a MOA. For instance, if the structure does not have firewalls on the sides.
Yes.
Firewalls, these are walls that prevents the fire from spreading from one side to the neighbor. So those are serious things that we cannot even enter into an agreement.
Okay.
If it's a thatch roof and it's not treated, then the structure will not be transferred.
So at that point, the inspector would inform you that, listen, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, or Mrs. Seller, Mrs. Buyer, this is the non-compliant issue. It's either a minor one where you can enter into a memorandum of agreement, or unfortunately, this is too big of an issue and we will not allow transfer, or we will not give a compliance certificate up until this issue has been addressed.
And then that remains the responsible of the seller to make sure that he can fix whatever it is. Only then the structure can be transferable
to get his deal to go through.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Larry, for all the information. As I mentioned, this was in fact a very informative session. We have learned so much, and we do understand, or at least now we do understand, the importance of building and compliance certificates in our home buying and selling processes.
Exactly. They always say we are not too old to learn, so every day we have to learn something new.
Yes,
so
in fact.
We must keep doing that.
And that's how you stay young.
Exactly.
That's how you stay young.
Yeah, but the pleasure is all mine for having me, and I hope I've managed to reach out to somebody out there who really needed to hear this information. And if a need be, they are always welcome to reach our offices and then come and sit with us and explain the process, how it works.
Okay.
Thank you.
So to all the viewers at home, thank you once again for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments box, and see you next week for our next episode. Bye.